okay. And well, yeah, my family was there. We all said, well, yeah, there's nothing else we can do. So they gave me the drug, and I was just like in a very sound sleep. I didn't have a dream or whatever. But then all of a sudden I did wake up. I became conscious, and I didn't know where I was because it was pitch black and I couldn't hear anything. And I was really concerned. I couldn't remember that I was in the hospital. I was just totally confused. And then suddenly it got a little bit lighter, but it was a reddish glow. And I thought the sun was coming up, and I thought, well, I'll just hang out and see what happens. But as it got a little bit lighter, I could tell there was all this swirling fog around, and I couldn't see through it. And it was getting to smell really bad there, and it was getting hot. And then all of a sudden, out of this fog came this horrible voice that just said, "Do you know where you are?" And I thought and I thought, and I couldn't come up with a good answer. I said, "Hell?" And this voice just went, wah, this mean, awful voice. Scared me, freaked me out. So I turned and I ran into the darkness just to get away from that voice. And then I stood there because I didn't know where I was. It was totally black again. But then the lights came up and they were way bright. And I was all of a sudden, imagine finding yourself in the middle of a burned out city. You don't know how you got there. You don't know what's going on. It was a big city like New York, and the buildings had fallen over. The ones that were standing had no windows left in them. There were sounds like machinery, big machinery, and I couldn't tell if it was like, I thought, well, good grief, maybe aliens have landed and they've destroyed this place. I didn't know if they had a war. I was just freaked out. So I tried to find a place to hide. By about the third situation, I became aware of this huge demon character standing in front of me, and he looked like something from like a Bigfoot, like a Yeti. And but he had a big stick, and he had ratty clothes, and he was just staring at me. And I thought, oh my goodness, this looks dangerous. And he says, do you want to get out of here? And I said, yes, I do. And he says, well, you do one thing for me and I'll see that you get out of here. But then the lights went out, and then the lights came back up. And as far as I could see was this white hallway, and then on walls, white walls, and either side had a door on it. I saw another one of those demons way at the end of the hall, and found these other, I don't know, there was probably altogether 10 or 12 of us. They looked like they'd been through the same vicious attack that I had. And she says, okay, now we're going, get in line, we're going. And we went to a place that was no longer dark. I don't know if we came through trees or what, but as far as I could see, it was just white snow. It was like being in Alaska or the North Pole or something. And it was really cold. And she says, just get in a single file and follow me. So it started snowing, and it started snowing harder and harder, and the wind was whipping, and it was so cold. And I don't know how long we were walking, but it was so long that by the time that we got there, the snow had gotten up to our chest, and we had to stay in a line, or else we couldn't go off either direction. She said that there was this hut that we were supposed to go into, and it was not insulated. It was, the wind was blowing through it. The windows were broken, and we went inside and sat on the floor because there was no furniture. And she says, well, okay, now we're going to wait for customers. And that indicated to me that we were probably going to be prostitutes. And I was really at my wit's end about that. And I said to her, my gosh, I've been here a long time, and it's so depressing right now. Oh my gosh, what's going on? She says, well, it's Christmas on Earth, and that's always the worst day in hell. And I thought, hell? Oh my goodness. I thought, how did this happen? I didn't know what to do. And I thought, well, I was still angry about this whole thing that I couldn't get out. And I thought, fine, I know what'll tick her off. I was going to sing a Christmas carol, and I was going to sing Away in a Manger. And as I started singing it, Away in a Manger, no crib for his bed, this demon lady got all upset. She turned around and told me to shut up. But I thought, okay, good. She's irritated. This is what I want to do. I'm going to be a brat. I'm going to be a misfit here, and I'm going to keep singing. Oh, shoot. Here we go. I'll go someplace else. But this time, when I opened my eyes, there was this whoosh of joy and bliss and love and light, and I was like tumbling in all this love. I felt like I was just saturated with this joy, and I had no recollection of anything. I could not remember hell. I could not remember earth. It was just all encompassing and all fulfilling, something that I never wanted to leave. It was just so wonderful. And as I was enjoying this sensation, and I noticed that things were starting to coalesce. It was looking like it was forming something a little more solid instead of this beautiful foggish cloud. And as it kind of settled out a little bit, I could see someone standing there. And it was my friend who had died the month before. And when he died of leukemia, oh, he lost his hair and he was all purple, and oh, he looked awful. And now he looked great. Instead of 53, he looked about 35. He was smiling. He was so excited to see me. And out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something, and I turned and I saw this big table with a huge book on it, open about halfway. And I thought, he was telling me something in that book and I can't remember. Oh, well. So I said, oh my gosh, he doesn't know he's dead. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to say anything. He looks so happy. And then he just really started laughing. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I didn't say anything out loud. I just thought that. And I thought, oh my gosh, he read my mind. All right. If he's dead, then I'm dead. Give me a second here. This is terrific. I'm in heaven. I'm with my best friend, and this is terrific. And so I said to him, okay, well, this is great. Why are you just standing there? Come on, let's show me around. It's going to be great. And he got a little closer and he said, now, Mary Kay, you've got too much left to do. I thought, that doesn't sound good. It sounds like I'm leaving. I said, no. I'm not, no. And he just smiled, and the lights went out. So the lights came up again, and they were way too bright. I was too hot. I couldn't move. And when I'm blinking to try and see, there's these people or something is milling around me. And I thought, oh no, I'm back in hell. And then my daughter turned around and says, Mom's back. And I thought, what? And she came and sat down, and my mom is happy. My dad, everybody's crying and they're happy. And I couldn't talk. I had that thing still stuck in my throat from the ventilator. And she says, Mom, you've been so sick. We thought we were going to lose you. The doctor said that you were probably going to die, but we've been praying and praying, and we've brought you back.